Siberia in the early 20th century was a land of endless forests and silent rivers, a place where the world seemed untouched by time. The taiga stretched for thousands of miles, its pine and larch trees standing like sentinels over a wilderness few outsiders had ever seen. The people who lived there, Evenki hunters, trappers, and a handful of Russian settlers, knew the land's moods and secrets. They respected its power, and they feared its silence. On the morning of June 30th, 1908, the sun rose early over the Podkamennaya Tunguska River. The air was cool and still. The only sounds the distant calls of birds and the gentle rustle of wind through the trees. In a small encampment, Evenki reindeer herders were beginning their day, tending to their animals and preparing for the long summer ahead. Among them was a man named Chekarin, who would later remember that morning as the day the world changed. He was sitting with his family, sharing a simple breakfast, when a strange light appeared in the sky. It was brighter than the sun, a glowing ball of fire that moved silently across the heavens. The air grew hot, and the ground trembled beneath their feet. Suddenly, the sky exploded. A shockwave tore through the forest, flattening trees for miles in every direction. The sound was deafening, a roar like thunder, but deeper, more powerful, as if the earth itself were crying out. The blast knocked people to the ground, shattered windows hundreds of miles away, and sent a column of smoke and fire rising into the sky. For a moment, there was only chaos. The Evenki ran for cover, their hearts pounding with fear. Some thought the world was ending, that the spirits of the forest had been angered. Others believed it was the work of the gods, a punishment for sins unknown. The animals scattered, and the reindeer bolted into the trees. When the dust settled, the land was changed. Where once there had been a dense forest, there was now a wasteland. 80 million trees flattened in a radial pattern, their trunks pointing away from a central point. The ground was scorched, and the air smelled of burning pine and earth. Birds and animals lay dead in the undergrowth, and the river ran dark with ash. In the days that followed, stories spread through the villages and trading posts of Siberia. People spoke of a great fireball, of a wind that could tear the roofs from houses, of a night sky that glowed for weeks with a strange, silvery light. In cities as far away as London, people marveled at sunsets painted in brilliant reds and oranges, unaware that the cause was a world away. But in the chaos of the Russian Empire, already trembling on the edge of revolution, news of the disaster was slow to spread. The region was remote, the roads impassable, and the government preoccupied with its own troubles. For years, the Tunguska Event remained a mystery, a legend whispered by hunters and travelers. It was not until the year 1927, nearly 2 decades later, that a scientific expedition finally set out to solve the mystery. The man who led them was Leonid Kulik, a meteorite expert from the Soviet Academy of Sciences. Kulik was a man of curiosity and determination, driven by a passion for discovery and a belief that the answers to the world's greatest mysteries could be found in the wildest places. Kulik's journey was not an easy one. The expedition traveled by train, horse, and boat, braving swamps, mosquitoes, and the ever-present threat of hunger. The local Evenki were wary, reluctant to guide outsiders into the heart of the blast zone. They spoke of a place where nothing grew, where the birds would not sing, and where the spirits of the dead wandered in silence. When Kulik and his team finally reached the site, they were stunned by what they saw. The forest was still scarred, the trees lying in neat rows as if a giant hand had swept them aside. In the center of the devastation, the trees stood upright, but stripped of their branches, their trunks scorched and bare. There was no crater, no sign of a meteorite, only the silent testimony of the land itself. Kulik spent weeks exploring the area, collecting samples, interviewing witnesses, and searching for clues. He listened to the stories of the Evenki, who spoke of a great wind and a fire that fell from the sky. He measured the fallen trees, mapped the blast pattern, and tried to imagine the force required to cause such destruction. If you're enjoying this story, don't forget to like and subscribe for more stories that bring history's greatest mysteries to life. The more Kulik learned, the more questions he had. What could have caused such a powerful explosion without leaving a crater? Was it a meteorite, a comet, or something else entirely? Theories abounded. Some believed it was a piece of a comet, its icy core vaporizing in the atmosphere. Others thought it was a stony meteorite, shattered before it could reach the ground. A few whispered of more fantastic explanations, alien ships, secret weapons, or the wrath of the gods. But for Kulik, the answer was less important than the search itself. He returned to Tunguska again and again, braving the hardships of the taiga in pursuit of the truth. He became a legend in his own right, a symbol of the human spirit's refusal to accept the unknown. As the years passed, the Tunguska Event faded from the headlines, but it never disappeared from the world's imagination. Scientists continued to study the site, using new tools and technologies to unlock its secrets. They found tiny spheres of silicate and nickel in the soil, evidence of a cosmic visitor. They mapped the blast pattern, calculated the energy released equivalent to more than 10 million tons of TNT, and marveled at the power of the universe. For the people of Siberia, the memory of that morning lingered. The forest grew back, but the scars remained a silent reminder of the day the sky fell. Hunters and travelers still spoke of the strange land at the heart of the taiga, where the trees lay like matchsticks and the air was thick with mystery. The Tunguska Event is more than a story of destruction. It is a story of wonder, of the fragile beauty of our world, and of the forces that shape it. It is a reminder that we are not alone in the universe, that the sky above us is alive with possibility and danger. Today, scientists believe that the Tunguska explosion was caused by a small asteroid or comet, perhaps 150 feet across, that entered the Earth's atmosphere at more than 30,000 miles per hour. The heat and pressure caused it to explode in midair, releasing a burst of energy that flattened the forest below. It was a near miss on a cosmic scale, a warning from the universe, written in fire and ash. But for those who lived through it, science is only part of the story. The Tunguska Event is a tale of survival, of resilience, and of the enduring power of the unknown. It is a story told around campfires and in classrooms, a legend that binds the past to the present. So, the next time you look up at the night sky, remember the morning when the heavens came to Earth. Remember Chekarin and his family, Leonid Kulik and his quest, and the silent forest that still holds its secrets. Remember that history is not just a record of what we know, but a journey into the mysteries that remain. If you enjoyed this journey into one of history's greatest cosmic mysteries, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. There are more stories waiting to be told, right here.